Howdy everybody, this is Lane. Today we're going to go over a little record book training. First I'm going to show you how to get on the 4-H website and how to find everything you need to know about record books. And then Kyle's going to show you another way that you can find it all. But first you're going to open up any internet browser and then you're going to type Texas 4-h.tamu.edu. And that's going to take you to the Texas 4-H website. This is the home page right here. How I find the stuff for record books is I go under this youth tab and you go down to record books, and here's everything you need to know, all the resources you're going to need for record books, whether it's the family guide, the categories, the different forms. They're rolling out with a new online record book. There's some training sessions and frequently asked questions and everything like that. So I'm going to kick it over to Kyle, and he's going to show you another way to find everything you need to know about record books, and he's going to give some examples and show you how to put one together.
So a great guide that will help you put your record book together is called the Family Guide, and you just need to go to the Texas 4-H website, and then if you go up to the search bar and type in record book, you will get a bunch of different options, and one of them is going to be the actual family guide, and it is right there, record book family guide for 2019. And you will go and you will click on this guide, and it will open it up to the table of contents, the first page. It's a very long document. There is about 20 pages total, but there's a table of contents. And if you will use this as your guide, you will be able to complete a record book fully. I wanted to highlight the sole purpose or objective of 4-H record books. It's to allow 4-H members to tell how they've grown, what they've learned, and where they've even come up short, to where they can set some goals to accomplish some things in the future. It also demonstrates the importance of keeping written documents and records, provides a written platform for goal setting, as I referenced just a minute ago, and documentation of actions that are required to actually accomplish those goals. Lastly, it provides an opportunity for competition at the county, district, or state level. And I reference that as lastly simply because that's not our primary goal, but more importantly are those first three objectives that we mentioned about goal setting and record keeping and whatnot. So a record book is just that, a book of records, and we're teaching our youth how to keep appropriate records for their different projects. Page 5 of the Family Guide for record books is what is called a 4-H record book summary, and it breaks it down. Up here in the top, it has junior, intermediate, and senior. And over here on the left, it has all the different parts to a record book, from a check sheet to the personal page. And if you go across, it will tell you if you need it for that age group of a junior, an intermediate, or senior, or what is required. The 4-H story and portfolio, it will go through here and it'll break it down. Your story, the 4-H photos, and per age group, it will tell you what is the minimum or maximum that's allowed. And then you get down in here into your 4-H report form sections. And again, for each one of those sections, this one sheet will tell you for each age group what is required, what is needed, as well as follow the 10-point minimum font. You don't have to type it. You can fill these out. But this is a great one-pager that tells you what belongs in each section of the book, from the story all the way through to the very end. Now that we know where to go find the Family Guide on the Texas 4-H website, we got to make sure that we enter the record book in a record book category. There are some categories that are not in competitive situations, that is still considered a project area, but we want to click on, when we search for record books, there will be that record book categories that you can click on, and then it brings up this document that shows record book category. And then it tells you everyone in alphabetical order, all the way down to the end to veterinary science, be there. And along with it is a summary for each category. And this is the primary project area that you are entering your record book. This is the project area that they're very, very active in. If someone just does livestock judging quite a bit and is really active in livestock judging, that is a project area, but it falls under agricultural science. So that's where it would go. So you would not enter your category and list a project as livestock judging. You would enter the category for the record book as agricultural sciences. So once again, this is a Texas 4-H record book categories description. You need to look at it to make sure you're entering your book in the category that's most appropriate for the child, where they're most active in is the best suggestion. Now it's time to start filling out our record book. And the question is, for those that don't already have one saved from a previous year, well, where do I start? How do I start? Where do I find it? We're right back to the Texas 4-H website. So you click on that record book form. Then there's a link that you click on as well. And you want to open that up. And this is the first page. It is called the check sheet. Basic information up here at the top. The category is the category you're entering your record book under. This check sheet is just to keep you in line right here. It's required to have. We at the county level, when you turn it in, the initials, we check it, and you should check yourself to be safe, but we will actually initial it and make sure that everything is there once it comes into us. The first thing you're going to see is the personal information page. Number of years in your main project. It doesn't mean how many years you've done a record book with it, but if you're this first year to do a record book, but you've been doing that project for 2 or 3 years, and that's what you would put. The county extension agent, Lane or Kyle, will actually sign it once it comes in. You don't need to get the signature before then, but you definitely need to get the 4-H member signature and the parent signature and have that dated. Section 1 is going to be the first thing that you fill out. Again, this is fillable or a Word document, but it can be handwritten as well. But there's your project experiences, and it's very specific as to what goes here. But it talks about your 4-H project summaries and experiences. What is your project? How did your project change or grow? What have you done and what have you learned? Those are things that if you will just read that heading, you should be able to answer and complete this book fairly easily. It's got a maximum of pages down there related to the different age groups. So it's got a great little guide there in that heading. Now we're getting into section 2. This is leadership. The guide up here, the heading, tells you what this guide stands for with these different initials for the role and for the level, whether it's club or county or district or state or national. And it tells you you're limited to a certain number, whether it's by age or just by every youth. Section 3 is your 4-H community service. Again, there's a year right here. My recommendation when you do your record book, I would start with the most current year on these entries, and then you can go further back. And if you go up to 2 years or 3 years, or seniors can be up to 4 years. That's what I would start with, is the most recent year, and put all the same roles together. So one after that. So group by year and by role. Same thing with community service. Same thing. Most recent in the year to oldest. And then your role, whether it's yourself or you're a member of a group or however it may have been. Other 4-H projects are here. It explains that very well, what should go there. Scrolling through, we're getting into 4-H recognitions and awards. Start with the most recent year and then go down to the oldest. And again, at what level. So this all tells you exactly how to fill it out. And then we get into non-4-H activities. It's very specific. It's non-4-H. It can be any kind of organization or group you're involved in that's not 4-H related. And then we get down into the last section, college and career exploration. As of today, what career would you like to choose? You need to put that in there. And then you actually list some of those things. So that, in a nutshell, is the report form that needs to be filled out. It's not difficult. It's not hard. The family guide will give you examples on how to fill all of it out. That, along with this Word document with the headings at top, should give you the perfect guidance on what you should do and how you should do it. Once again, I can't stress enough. Look at the family guide, because that is exactly what it's there for, is for you to be able to fill out a record book. And also look at the headings in this here. There's nothing worse than completing one, but it was incorrect. As long as you meet the minimum requirements, it doesn't have to be 4 pages when it says a minimum of 2 and you only do 2, that is fine. If you want to hand fill it out, make sure it's just legible. We cannot read scratch writing, but we will sure be willing to take one that's done by hand. And if you complete one of these at the bare minimum, fully completed book, that enables your child to apply for awards and go through award interviews. It enables a child to run for some like county office or county council office or things like that as well. But they don't have to be an award-winning record book. It's just a fully complete book. For those of y'all that would like a good example or an example of a good record book when it comes to stories, make sure that you start your story off with the appropriate title. The family guide as well as the actual report form tells you how it should be titled, and it's My 4-H, whatever the name of the project is, story and photo portfolio. You can see that this youth here it's got a picture and it's got some wording underneath it. Make sure that you make it firsthand, not that is Luke disbudding his goat, but disbudding horns on a weather, whatever it may be. The little short summary underneath it, and you can see there's a little bit of clip art. There's a box around it as well, exercising the goat. So the story goes on. You can see up at the top where it says goats. It's got a little bit of graphic with it. That's really good as well. Then we get into beef, and it titles it beef, and it's got a little bit of graphic around it. That's perfectly fine as well. You don't have to. It just makes it a little more appealing. Rule of thumb is a couple of pages per page, and you can do the wraparound text where the text goes side by side around the photos and place the photos wherever you want. Then get into veterinary science, and you've got the graphics or the pic arts around the title of the heading rather, and then you've got the title of the photos. But this book here actually won state a while back, but it's put together very well in terms of the story, and so I thought I would share that with y'all. All right, for those that are looking for an example of a completed book with the forms, the report forms, here is kind of, we're starting with project experiences. This is an older book. It was done a few years back, but one that was very good, very competitive in shooting sports. You can see that they got very creative when it came to where they were entering the text. They highlighted and put colors back behind. So that was their main project area of shooting sports. Then there was food and nutrition, and that got a different color. And then wildlife and fisheries was even another color. And then we got into leadership as well. My suggestion is on these colors, keep them light, more like a pastel color. These are just on the borderline of maybe being too dark. And you can see when we get down into the next section where we get into leadership experiences, there are all the colors side by side. Did a great job of breaking them apart on the eye. It's easy to read, probably just a little too dark. But this is a great example of taking roles in leadership. Elected was one color, appointed another, volunteer was another. And so these are just a good example of how you can get a little more creative with this record book. You don't have to, but if you want to, you have that freedom. And then we get into 4-H recognitions and awards, kind of broke those out on different levels as well. So there's a great example of completing a book and add a little more wow factor if you wanted to. So Nueces County, that completes our record book training, virtual record book training. Hopefully you have found some useful tips and information that we provided you. We wish you all the best of luck in getting your record book complete. Again, you can reach out to the office and contact us if you want to send us what you have or where your struggle is. We'll be more than happy to help you. But again, this family guide is one of the best resources you can find that can walk you through it. This green cover, we do have them at our office. We can put one in the mail and mail to you if you want to mail us. I believe they're either $2 or $3. You can call and speak to Chris. You're not required to have this hard binder. You can use any 3-ring binder, but it does look nice to have these because they do look consistent. We do have those if you need them. Once again, good luck, and please let us know if you got any questions.